Biohacking healing. Be the best version of you. Performance, technology, transformation.
Hi biohackers, David Holden here, biohacking healing coach. And you all know about me, so I'm not going to introduce me. However, I'm going to let my guest today introduce herself. I've known Linda for over 10 years. She's a naturopath and a biochemistry nerd big time. And you're going to get to hear lots of technical speak if you love that sort of stuff like we do, as most biohackers do. So welcome, Linda Hoggard. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, David. So, hi, everyone. As David said, my name is Linda Hoggard. I've been in the naturopathic field for the last 27 years. And for the last 20 years, I've been heavily involved in the field of stem cell nutrition. I'm working with a particular supplement, helping people biohack their lives, turn their lives around and work with their degeneration, either turning it around or preventing it.
Great. So Linda's specialized in stem cells, particularly one that in the Biohacking Healing Primer book I mention as one of the key top 3 biohacks as a beginner you should seriously look at if you want to wind back the clock. And we'll talk more about those products. Now, Linda's been using them in fairly what's considered by some people, not by me, and certainly not by biohackers, as radical dosages to get massive turnarounds in clinic. So, Linda, give us a few examples. How long have you been using stem cell enhancers with your patients, and what sort of turnarounds have you seen?
Oh, well, we could talk for a long time with what I've seen over 20 years. I think when I initially started using the product, I'd been a really busy practitioner already for 8 years. I was booked out a couple of months or so ahead. And I think, by that time, as a pracky, you know what works and doesn't work. You know when your back's against the wall. And I was introduced to a natural stem cell enhancing product, the one that's in your book, or the precursor, the original formula 20 years ago. And I was in quite a funk myself. I was having a bit of a healing crisis due to some of the things I'd been doing around mercury poisoning that I was medically diagnosed with in my 20s. And I tried this product and it did something to me that got me out of that healing funk unlike anything else that I was experiencing. And the person who'd sent it to me from America sent me a DVD that showed the original research proving that the way our body rebuilds and repairs is via stem cell migration. And it had fascinating information on it around the heart. And we now know, the heart has a huge requirements for stem cells on a daily basis, let alone when it's damaged through various ways. The heart becomes damaged. It can just get old, but, there's things that quite knock the heart around. And I had a patient in end-stage heart failure who had every sort of naturopathic, Chinese medicine, pharmaceutical intervention that you could throw at me. And she was full of fluids, going blue around her lips and dying, and nothing was turning her around. And It took 6 months. We used some good amounts. We were probably using, I think from memory, that was 8 capsules a day. I now know from my experience with people that when things like that are happening, that you can easily go to 12, 14 capsules a day and really speed up the recovery and just give the body the resources it needs, and particularly, in her case, the heart, the resources it needs. Yeah.
So this is the product mentioned in the primer, this one here, called StemEnhance Ultra, which is, in my view, a biohacker's dream.
Absolutely. Yeah, because, there's one thing is kind of getting yourself in a pickle and being able to turn it around by providing more resources. But from a biohacking point of view, it's really important to be keeping your stem cell migration up. Our natural stem cell migration slows by 5% per year over the age of 25 is the general consensus scientifically. And one of the main reasons for this is that there is a compound that anchors the stem cells in the bone marrow called L-selectin. And essentially the mechanism of the product that you were holding is that it has a polysaccharide in it that has been called L-selectin ligand meaning adheres to. So it adheres to this anchoring compound in the bone marrow and allows for a preferential kind of release of stem cell migration. So the StemEnhance concentrate has its own double-blind published research that shows that when you take 2 capsules within 45 minutes, you have a 25% increase in your stem cell migration. So
hang on and say that again slowly. That's an amazing finding. 2 capsules in how many minutes?
45 minutes, you have a 25%
Wow.
increase in stem cell migration. I probably said it fast because I'd like a dollar for every time I've said that in the last 20 years.
I'll bet. But hang on a minute, folks. That's profound. 2 capsules in 45 minutes will increase stem cell migration by 25%. That's profound.
And that's a minimum. For some people in the study, they had higher releases. Our bodies all have different effects with these natural compounds.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant.
So I've been taking... Sorry, keep going.
I was going to say, and it's just fantastic because, David and I, we're really only interested in using natural, profound biohacking products. And this product is a proprietary, concentrated, trademarked just concentrate of the Ethanozamidon flos-aquae algae from Lake Klamath.
Yeah, abbreviated to AFA, folks.
Yes.
So we'll put some stuff up on the website about AFA and the research, which got me really interested as a scientist in what these guys were doing. I've personally been taking this product for 10 years now, and I take it with its sister product, Cyactiv, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I've slowly been increasing my dosage over that period. And it spanned two decades of my life. In my 50s, I was taking 6 capsules a day. 60s, I stayed at that level. I'm still in my 60s, but I've now upped it the last couple of years to 8 capsules a day, 4 morning, 4 evening. What do you think, Linda, is a good standard rule, if there is such a thing with biochemical individuality, for what sort of dosages should people be looking at to stimulate their stem cell release on a regular basis right through the day? What would you recommend and what age groups?
So what I've taught on behalf of the manufacturers around the world is my observations, which is that most adults do really well on 2 capsules twice a day. If they have more going on than average, we'll make it 3 capsules twice a day. If they're in a pickle, we'll make it 4 capsules twice a day. And this is a very New Zealand term. If they're munted, like you've got a lot going on, or you've had quite an accident, and you're like, how much of this stuff can I kind of take? Well, we'll go to 12 a day, and the developers would say that from a stem cell point of view, it's not worth taking more than 16 a day. So if I get an email going, help, my husband fell off the roof, he's in hospital, he's broken 23 bones, how much of this can we take? I'll be like, you want to be doing at least 12 a day, but you can take it up to 16 a day. And, there's a variety of situations where you would do that. If any part of your body has just got damaged and disrepair, is dysfunctional, and it's got a lot to do with age or trauma, that big answer is stem cells. And if it fits your cash flow, just get a heap of it into you and speed it up. And if it doesn't work to take those amounts and you've got stuff going on, really try and get into that at least 6 or 8 a day. Just be patient with the process, but you are mobilizing and a heck of a lot of resources that you wouldn't have mobilized in your body, that your body can use to turn things around. And there's quite a lot of understanding scientifically about how our existing cells call for stem cells. They release particular compounds that make the stem cells home to those areas. So your body really knows what to do. And you just have to be mindful. A lot of people take this product for their knees. Broken knees really promote people to look for answers, and sometimes it'll feel like it's the first thing that the stem cells are getting into and helping with, and sometimes it'll feel like it's the last thing. But if you're mindful of your body and how it's feeling on that journey, there can be everything can experience changes. There's always this increase in sense of life force. I can I always tell if somebody is taking the product or not. You can see it in their skin and vitality and, generally how they're feeling.
Definitely. I've definitely noticed that as well in my own taking of it over the years. And certainly I noticed the difference when I up the dose. There seems to be the body either gets used to it, or as the body ages and the stem cells further decline, you're needing more to boost that level up. But I certainly, when I went to 6 a day, I noticed a big difference. And then I went to 8 a day, I noticed a difference as well.
I
And that
really
was
think,
about 2 years.
yeah, if you've been on the planet a while, and like even your case, you've looked after yourself really well, there's nothing particularly going on, but your natural stem cell migration rate has dropped off. And I would say, people can just take that 2 capsules twice a day, but it is a whole other experience of taking 4 capsules twice a day. That's what I do.
Yeah. No, it's definitely quite noticeable. And if someone was taking 16, would you recommend they split it into 2 lots of 8 or 4, 4, 4,
I will
4?
spread it. So often the 16 is when, people have got things going on. And I might even get them to take it in the middle of the night if they're waking up. They might do 4 capsules 4 times a day, preferably. That stem cell migration rate on the charts lasts for a good 6 hours after you ingest the product. So if you're trying to just keep your body mobilized all the time, if you're having a wee at 2 a.m, take another 4. For some people, the product can keep them awake. I do find if someone's trying to recover from something significant, their body's just trying to rest from an accident or something anyway, and they don't notice it. But I know for myself, if I took it at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like not going back to sleep. And that's because there's lots of other benefits that come with this algae concentrate, including an increase in the mood enhancer PEA. So it's often why people mentally feel really good on the product.
Yeah, much more stable, more even keeled is common comments I've heard from patients. There's definitely, you get a release of a wide-ranging impact of effects on the neurology of the person as well as the physiology, no doubt about it. So more research is needed on these. Now, one of the common questions I get asked by people is, can I have it if I've got cancer? Can I have stem cell enhancers if I have cancer? What's your response to that?
Well, all you're doing is increasing a natural process that's happening in your body that's generally slowed down. Unlike David, we probably all know David works a lot with cancer. It's not really kind of my gig, but obviously I get asked about it quite a lot. And the one thing I always say, if you were trying to recover your body from chemotherapy and radiation, which is a trauma that's damaged your body, and it's done its job and had its effect on your cancer cells, but then you've got to get your life force back. You want to get your life force back? This is the product.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something that can be used quite safely, and I've AK tested a number of cancer patients on it, and they certainly test high. The issue being there's a lot of products a lot of cancer patients take, and it's trying to weed down the ones that are most effective so they get best bang for their buck. And the stem cell enhancers do come up in the top 3. So it's an exciting area of research, and we need more studies being done for sure.
I was going to say, one of the things we know about one of the mechanisms of how this algae really helps the body is that it also increases the migration rate of natural killer cells, which is relevant when you're trying to keep on top of cells. Not
very relevant with cancer and with autoimmune conditions as well. So there's a whole lot there, and we can do other podcasts and videos on other aspects of this as well. Now, the reason why I took the Cyactiv with the StemEnhance, because this is a major one for a range of reasons. Linda, you often prescribe the 2 together too, don't you?
Absolutely. The company actually has a variety of blue products. That is just the blue pigment from the algae, but the same phycocyanin is also in spirulina. So you'll see on that bottle the phycocyanin is actually commercially taken from spirulina, and that just keeps more algae from making StemEnhance.
Yeah.
I mean, Cyactiv is just a brilliant anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. Now, the other one that I've been using a lot since the COVID injections is this product here, PlasmaFlo. Can you discuss a little bit about what that product does in the range and why it was introduced?
Absolutely. So PlasmaFlo was the second product introduced, and that's primarily because there's only one area in your microcirculation where your stem cells migrate from. So StemEnhance gets your stem cells moving more from your bone marrow into your blood, and then once it's in the blood, the stem cells cruise around, get into your microcirculation. And then there's a junction in your microcirculation between the capillaries and the venules. And of course, all the blood coming out of the heart's got musculature around it. So there's a push out of the blood pressure. And then all the blood coming back to the heart doesn't have that musculature. So there's a changeover of these pressures at the capillary venule intersection. And that's the position where the stem cells can migrate out. There's just enough of a lull in the flow, a bit like,
Push.
a river coming into a big gulf of water. There's this area there, and it's enough for the stem cells to be able to pick up from the cells, these signals like stromal derived factor 1 that are coming out of these cells, and they're releasing them because they're either being damaged or they've come to the end of their life and they're like, hey, we need new stem cells to become new cell lines. So compounds activate the stem cells to migrate through the blood vessel wall into the area. So we know, well, particularly David and I know, that your microcirculation can easily be kind of really affected by fibrin. So these are compounds to do with blood clotting. It's not an actual blood clot, but as we have oxidant and inflammatory compounds in our blood, they can knock on these compounds and they pull out these microscopic spicules, and that can really affect the microcirculation. So it's easy to have like a little clump of fibrin that's the size of 20 red blood cells. And when you're looking at vessels that are only one red blood cells, that gets really important to have that as open as possible. And I do see it, if you're taking a stem cell enhancer because you're going, man, my feet or my hand, the peripheries of my body really need extra rebuilding and repairing. If it feels at all like things are working elsewhere, but it's not getting to the peripheries of your body, then the thing to add is the PlasmaFlo. So it has enzymes in it.
For Raynaud's syndrome.
Oh, Raynaud's, man. 6 StemEnhance, 2 PlasmaFlo.
Ideal for Raynaud's.
Yep. I've just consistently get brilliant results with Raynaud's, and you've got to have at least 6 StemEnhance, two capsules of PlasmaFlo, and a gluten-free diet, and minimal dietary intervention of getting rid of those grains on the autoimmunity, and just brilliant, consistent results. Yeah, so
there's a very good video on the Cerule website which we'll post, which discusses all 3 of these products and how they interact and why they were designed. So it's a very, very exciting area of research. Now, there are animal stem cells you can use. They're prohibitively expensive, and there has been some problems in some of the research. And that's why I've gone more plant-based, and also the cost factor. These are quite affordable compared to animal injectable stem cells. So that's a real factor for people, because, if you're taking these, you don't take these short term. If you're going to commit to these, you take them long term, and you expect to get better results the longer you're on them. That's certainly been my experience. Any comments on that, Linda?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of, people are so designed or programmed that they've got this and then they just want kind of something to fix it up. And quite often StemEnhance is the answer. But if it's an issue that's kind of just caught up with you as far as from an aging point of view, you've got to really mobilize enough resources for your body to catch up from that period of time. And so
exactly,
I always ask people to really just um, bear all the science in mind and how the body works, get onto a good amount of product and just stick onto it for 6 to 8 months, and then have a conversation with one of us or yourself around where you're at over that period of time. And then that creates value in the product, and then continuing, because really interesting stuff happens like in a year, 2 years, 3 years. If you've been around a while, like if you're like me and you had mountain biking accident injuries that hadn't kind of deeply healed and things, I know at around 2 or 3 years, I was like, wow, I can lie on that hip again, that, where I chipped my hip mountain biking in Scotland when I was 18, had these injuries that had just consistently been painful, had finally kind of deeply healed. And I talked to, a lot of physical type therapists, chiropractors, osteopaths, massage therapists quite a bit. And I go, like, think about the person who comes in and goes like, I've never been right since I had that car accident 5-10 years ago. They might have experienced a really strong trauma in their spine. And yes, the treatments are going to help open up the circulation, reset the musculature, ligaments, etc. of those areas. But for a lot of those people, they haven't actually deeply healed. So if you do a treatment alongside stem cell enhancers, man, the results, really come together, and people can get that feeling like, imagine if you've just broken up your L5 and it's just deeply painful from an injury, and you get a whole lot of help with it structurally, and then you feed the body with stem cell enhancers and circulation, Cyactiv, and get the resources into that area, and so it can just really calm down. Because inflammation's a big term, and I would say to people the most anti-inflammatory thing I think you can take and do is do StemEnhance long term, because long term it can get on top of all those little niggly injuries that are just creating these cytokine reactions all the time. Yeah.
So what I noticed, my story of using these two products particularly very effectively, was when I tore an ACL in my left knee doing advanced Qigong practice for a demonstration with some patients and some colleagues. And it incredibly painful. My God, anyone's done an ACL skiing accident or netball accident or whatever will know what I mean. So I went to my GP. He gave me an ACC chit, and I went to see a surgeon. He looked at the knee, scanned it, said, yeah, you've ripped the ACL in half. He said, I can give you an operation, cost you 10 grand. ACC will pay 7 of it. You can pay 3. You'll be on your back for 6 weeks. You'll probably have a permanently weakened knee. I said, well, you're not really selling it, are you? Anyway, I just found out about these products here, these two at that point. And so I thought, look, I don't really want the operation. I'm going to try healing it myself. And he just smiled. He said, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to come back in 3 months. I want you to rescan my knee and tell me what I've done to it. So he agreed. And I diligently took 6 of these a day, 3 morning, 3 night of each. Went back in 3 months, and he said, the scans show you've half healed it. When do you want the operation? I said, well, hang on a minute. If I've half healed it in 3 months, let's give it 6 months. And I upped the dose to 8 and did it for another 3 months. He scanned it. He said, yeah, it's completely healed. When do you want the operation? I said, I don't want the effing operation. I'm happy with what I've got now. And I've got the proof, I've got the scans, and I can do exercises on this knee like it was never injured. So that proved to me how effective these can be. So I was convinced of that, and so I just stayed on 8 a day and feel the benefits for sure. As I say to my clients and patients, I don't look too bad for 94, do I really? So I'm convinced that how powerful these are, and I'm going to keep coming back to these because yes, it's important to get your baseline nutrition, as Dave Asprey talks, and all biohackers know this. You need your vitamin D-A-K-E. You need your macro minerals as baseline nutrition. You can't heal without minerals. And if you don't have vitamin D, A, K, and E on board, you don't absorb the minerals. So that's really, really important baseline. But the next thing you want to look at is upping your stem cells. And this is the most cost-effective way of doing it. There are other products on the market. They are prohibitively expensive compared to these ones. And they have a Kiwi connection. Can you share with the audience the Kiwi connection with Cerule, Linda?
Yeah, apart from us, but Cerule is owned by two men, John O'Lester, who lives in Canada, and the other owner is Andy Goodwin, who is a Kiwi guy and who did run quite a lot of the company from here. But as the company has grown worldwide, and it is really quite growing at the moment, he's now bases himself at the head office in the Los Angeles greater area. Yeah, so...
Yeah. Cerule's on a big trajectory, and I think more and more people are going to get interested in this, and with good reason, because there's good research and we need more research. And we'll do a link to the scientific papers underneath. So those of you that are a bit science nerdy like we are and want to check out the research for yourself can do so. And I just hope and pray that Cerule sponsors more research, and other companies do as well, because I think we've got a great trajectory with these products and what they can do for human nutrition. So look, thank you, Linda. We're going to talk more about these products, but have a look at the links below, and we'll talk more about this in the future. And if you've got any questions you want to ask me and Linda about stem cell enhancement and how it could help you, put them in the links and we'll respond to those in a future video. So thank you, Linda. Anything else you want to add before we end this?
No, I think we should end, because we could really talk about it for hours.
We could go on for what we have done in the past. We could do it before.
Yeah.
Now, if you look in YouTube and you put in David Holden naturopath interviews, Linda Hoggard naturopath, you'll get, there's been a couple of other interviews we've done a few years ago now. Have a look at them. And I dissolve these in water and show you how they absorb and a few other things. So just check out YouTube and you'll find those other clips. There's a lot of clips on Cerule Stem Enhancers online, and do have a look at their website, and there's links that we'll put below so you can have a look at that. And we'll talk much more about this in the future. Thank you very much, audience, for your attention, and we look forward to your questions. This is David Holden, Biohacking Healing Coach, signing off. Bye for now.